right, welcome back to Top 5 Vinyl, where we show love to vinyl owners. Today I'm here with Shala. How's it going, sir?
I'm doing fine, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for being a part of this with me. I appreciate it.
hmm
Yeah, man. So, can you tell the people where they can find you on Instagram?
You can find me on Instagram. My handle is Sola Vinyl, SOLA_vinyl.
Nice.
And I'm also on Threads. Outside of those two, I'm really nowhere else.
Cool. And I'll link that information at the bottom of the screen so they can find you. All right, cool. So let me hit that rewind button. So, growing up, was there a record player in the house?
There was a record player in the house, yes.
And who was the primary listener? Mom, dad?
It was mostly dad. Was
Okay.
mostly dad.
Okay. What kind of stuff was dad listening to? You remember?
Dad was all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly soul, R&B. He
Mm,
had a couple of sprinkles of jazz in there.
mm,
So a little bit of everything.
okay. Okay. Was that record player on or off limits to you? Could you touch it?
No, I was young back then. I was between the ages of 5 and 10.
Mm.
So no, at that point in time where we did have a record player in the house, no, I couldn't really touch it. There was an incident once where I did touch it
Mm.
and I got in trouble for doing that. So
Right.
it was like hands off for the
Yeah.
most part.
Yep. I
I mean,
get
when
it.
I became of age, he allowed us to, dabble and tinker around. But when I was younger, no.
Okay. I got it. Uh, growing up, let me ask you, do you remember the first vinyl record that you ever bought with your own money?
Oh, with my own money, yes,
Mm.
because I've only been in the vinyl community for since COVID.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And yes, I do remember my first record. It's actually part of the ones I would show today.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you want me to touch on that right now or later
Not yet.
on.
We'll
Okay.
that'll be part of the fun. We'll wait. Okay. Um, so you started when COVID hit. Okay.
COVID hit.
Since then, have you been to record stores? Like, do you have a favorite record store to go to buy vinyl records?
Yeah, I mean, I live, like I said, in Marietta, Georgia. We do have a small mom and pop record shop not too far from me that's called Sweet Melissa's.
Mm,
Um, Pretty nice people, very helpful, very huge collection.
mm,
So yeah, that's the store I primarily go to go, you know, look around, dig,
mm,
and all that kind of stuff. So
mm.
Sweet Melissa Records.
Gotcha. Okay. How hard was it for you to narrow down 5 records for me today?
It was very, very hard because when you initially reached out, it got my brain going like, okay, what five do I want to showcase?
Mm,
And why do I want to showcase any particular five?
mm,
And I think I narrowed down roughly about two, maybe
mm.
three. And for the rest of them, I just kept on going back and forth. So it was pretty tough. It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
There are some I would really like to showcase and highlight, but it's only
Right.
five. And,
Right.
the five that made it, I think I have a story around them, and there's a reason why I picked those five.
Nice. All right, cool. Have you seen any of your top 5 perform live before?
Yes, I have.
Hmm. How many of the 5?
Wow, four of them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Four of
Nice.
them.
You'll have to explain when we get there. Okay.
hmm
And let me ask you this. What vinyl record do you not currently own that you want very, very much?
Funny enough, I did touch on this earlier today.
Hmm.
I'm a big fan of Raphael Sadiq,
Hmm.
and he has this album. I believe it was his first solo album that was outside of the group, his group with his brothers. Um, the album is called Instant Vintage,
Hmm.
and it's one of the ones I really want. It's on Discogs, a little bit too pricey.
Hmm.
So fingers crossed that one day, it will fall in my hands.
Right, right.
I mean, I have it on CD, but no, I need it on vinyl too. So
Gotcha.
we'll get there one day.
All right, cool. And with that being said, Salah, this is top 5 vinyl. Can you share the
Yeah.
number 5? What is the fifth vinyl album that you have in front of you right now?
The fifth vinyl album is by one of my favorite artists, Fela Kuti.
Hmm.
So the story behind Fela Kuti is my dad and uncle introduced me to his music. This was back in the late 80s. I believe there was a story on the news. He was coming out of prison
Mm,
because he was in and out of prison for political reasons. His music was very politically charged.
mm,
And I asked my dad, like, hey, why was he in prison? Then my dad gave me the background of who he was, who Fela was, and his music. So at that point in time, when my dad broke it down to me, um, I started getting more in tune with what his music was about
mm,
and learning a lot more.
mm,
Luckily for me, I had an uncle who was an older uncle who was cool enough to also take me to his concerts back
mm,
in the 90s.
mm,
So I believe I was very lucky and fortunate enough to see Fela in concert at least two or three different times.
wow.
And the other thing about his music is that he's the most, I think he's the most collected artist I have in my collection.
Mm,
I have about close to about 50 of his records.
really? Wow.
Because, I mean, he's been creating music since I mean, may he rest in peace. He passed away, I think, in 97, 98.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, he was creating music for decades.
Mm,
So
mm,
I have about over close to about 50 or more of his
wow.
albums.
Wow.
And I mean, and people call him the father of Afrobeat, which is where the genre Afrobeats comes from.
Mm,
And luckily, his sons still carry on his legacy. He
mm,
has two sons, Femi and Sheun, who are who are musicians also, and they still carry on the legacy of his music, and his grandson too. So
mm,
his legacy continues.
gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, that's the story behind him. He's my most collected artist in my collection.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, seeing him perform is like I would say one of the highlights of my life
Mm,
because it's amazing.
mm,
And like I said, unfortunately, he did pass away in the 90s, but his legacy continues.
right. That's
And
cool.
funny enough, a lot of Western artists from Common, Mos Def, The Roots, a lot of them have sampled his music in
Mm,
their music.
mm,
So
mm.
pretty well known artist.
No, yeah. All right, cool. That's your number five. Let's
Yes.
go ahead and take a look at your number four.
Number four, it's an album that everyone has, which would be Michael Jackson Thriller, of
Mm-hmm.
course.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has this one. Um, the story behind this one for me personally was as a kid, I mean, who didn't like Michael? Michael was
Right.
just like the epitome of cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember my dad having this album. And I always used to wonder, like, how is that suit glowing
Ha. Right.
on the cover?
Uh-huh.
You know, so it's always, I mean, Michael, an artist I loved a lot, you know, and it just reminds me of my childhood as one of the albums that my dad had within his collection
Mm,
that, you know, as a child, I always used to wonder, like, wow, that's such a cool album. The music is cool.
mm-hmm.
The artwork, why is his suit glowing? Was
Right.
what I used to think about back then. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
number four would be Michael,
Nice. Nice. Can't go wrong with
definitely.
that. Got you. Okay. That's your number four. Let's go ahead and take a look at your number three.
So my number three takes me more into my teenage years. Um, you know, teenager listening to all sorts of music, rap, R&B, all that kind of stuff. But I remember when Dre dropped The Chronic.
Mm, mm,
In my opinion, it was a game changer. It just
mm,
changed the whole. I mean, back then, I just think it was like a shift in how music used to sound,
mm,
production, everything. Of course, we knew Dre from his production with NWA and everything.
mm,
But when it came to The Chronic, I looked at it as a shift. And as a teenager back then, it was just very, it was something to experience.
mm, mm,
Like the G Funk era and the music he was producing,
mm,
that was a complete departure from what he used to do with NWA. So for me personally, it was just a shift in the kind of music I started listening to. I mean, back then, fortunately or unfortunately, I got very heavy into West Coast rap.
mm, mm,
So Dre was one of the people that shifted that mentality for me. And
mm.
I just look at it as a time period.
Hmm.
For me, it just reminds me of my teenage years,
Right.
hanging out with my friends, parties, all that stuff. So
Hmm.
it just reminds me of those good old times.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Okay. That's your number three.
Hmm.
Let's go ahead and take a look at your number two.
Okay, number two takes me timeline wise was roughly 97, 98.
Okay.
I was a young 20-year-old kid. I,
Right.
I don't think I really had any business listening to this music. I was just mature enough to know that it was something different. So this would be number two, right?
Hmm.
Wow.
Hmm.
So number two will be Maxwell.
Yep.
Um, you know, the album Hang Sweet for me was just another shift because I think if I look at back then, R&B music was going through a lot of stuff. There was
Hmm.
different things going on.
Hmm.
Yes, we had neo soul, which was pretty cool, but when Maxwell came out, it reminded me of the Marvin Gaye's and that kind of music.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I was really drawn to his music like I said, I was 20. Did I really have any business listening to such sophisticated R&B? Maybe not, but I really enjoy Maxwell. He's one of the artists that every time he's in town and performs, I make sure I try to go to that concert to see
Hmm.
him.
Hmm.
And the other caveat there is actually he's one of my favorite artists and one of my wife's favorite artists. So
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
something that we do share in common.
Hmm. That's awesome.
So, yep, Maxwell.
Okay, okay. And you just said so you saw Maxwell perform live
Yes,
and you saw your number five perform live.
correct.
Did you see four or three?
No, I didn't say four. So four was Michael. No,
Oh,
never
okay,
saw
okay,
Michael perform.
okay.
But yes, I did see Dre perform once, which
Okay.
was actually cool. This was like 98,
Mm,
the Up in Smoke tour.
yep, yep, yep.
And it was Dre, Snoop, Eminem, Ice
Mm-hmm.
Cube.
Mm-hmm.
Was like it was a pretty good lineup,
Yeah.
WC. Yeah, it was a pretty good lineup. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember going to go see them. Wow, am I aging myself? Lakewood Amphitheater is what it used to be called in Atlanta. And I
Mm.
saw Dre and Snoop and Eminem perform. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw when they came up to where I am, and I think Ice Cube was there also, if I remember correctly.
Ice Cube was there, yeah.
Yeah, yep, yep,
Ice
yep.
Cube and maybe what was it West Side Connection? Were they there? I can't remember.
I can't remember
It was a
either.
pretty good concert.
Yeah, yeah, it was. Okay. All right, cool. So we saw your five, four, three, and two. For the grand finale, what do we have for number one?
So number one is what got me into this vinyl collection
Mm,
thing.
mm,
Um, like I said, I started my collection roughly during COVID.
mm-hmm,
I guess I had extra money laying around.
mm-hmm,
However, before I started collecting vinyl, I knew once I once I dabbled into it, there was no stopping. However, this artist in particular, her 20th anniversary album was coming out,
mm,
and at this point in time, I didn't even have a record player,
mm,
but I saw the album that was coming out, the pressing and everything,
mm,
and I just had to have it.
mm,
So my number one artist would be, and this was the very first vinyl record that I ever bought.
okay.
So that would be Jill Scott,
Okay.
Words and Sounds Volume 1.
Mm,
So
mm,
this is the 20th anniversary pressing of her album that came out, I think, during COVID, if I'm not mistaken.
mm,
Maybe that timeline might be a little bit off, but it was the first record I ever bought
mm,
in my collection, and
mm.
that's what started everything.
Nice. And have
So,
you seen her
and
perform
so of
live?
course, I excuse me.
You've seen her perform live?
Oh yeah, a couple of times.
Okay.
I remember when the album first came out, and the album first came out, whatever year that was. I think it was like maybe around the 2000s, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm,
And she came to perform in Atlanta. And again, as a young dude, I went by myself.
mm, mm,
Like I had to see her perform, and
mm.
people were like, "Why would you go to a Jill Scott concert by yourself?" I'm like, "I don't care.
Right,
I just need
right,
to see her perform."
right.
Oh, so yeah, so I'm not a huge Jill Scott fan. She holds that near and dear spot in my collection for being the very first record I ever bought. Because I mean, like I said, I knew once I dabbled into it, there was no stopping me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
That's awesome.
so that's number one, and I'm seeing the perform a good number of times.
Nice.
I wish I got to see Michael perform, but
Right.
never,
Right.
never had that opportunity. And
Yeah,
like I
me
said
neither.
earlier with Fela Kuti, um, funny enough, my uncle that took me to those concerts, he's now a staunch Christian.
Mm.
So I had to remind him from time to time, like, hey, uncle, remember they
Right.
used to like take me to those concerts and
Right.
everything else. But
Mm-hmm.
I do thank you for at least introducing me to Fela's music and taking me to that concert. So out of
Mm.
my top five, Michael is the only one I never got to see perform live. All the
Gotcha.
rest, yes.
Okay. All right. Cool. Cool. All right. And can you let the people know one more time where they can find you on Instagram and Threads?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram and Threads. My handle is Sola Vinyl or Shala Vinyl, SOLA _vinyl
Nice.
on Instagram and Threads.
All right. Cool. And I just want to thank you one more time for sharing your time with me and sharing your top five vinyl records with me.
Definitely, and thanks for having me. This has
Of
been
course.
fun. I do appreciate the challenge of how to like condense a
Right.
collection of so much music that I love down to a specific five.
Mm.
There is a couple of other ones that I'd love to have showcased, but they just didn't make the top five. This
Right.
is it.
Right. All right, cool, man. We'll talk soon.
Definitely.
All right, cool.
All right.